hmm Praise the Lord. My name is Diamond Stylz. I'm the Executive Director of Black Trans Women's Inc. and the host of Marsha's Plate podcast. All links are in the bottom. Today, we are going to talk about Euphoria. Particularly the episode. Let's see. It is the Jules episode. So Euphoria has have been releasing like episodes to promote the new season coming. And episode 1 was of Rue, and it was discussing addiction and her and sobriety and stuff like that. But episode two has been discussing Jules, and Jules is a trans woman who is dating Rue, who is a cis woman. And I want to kind of talk about it because it was an amazing episode. It was really, really good. And, I think that they hit on some really, really good conversations. So let's see who's in here. Hey, Brendan. I love Euphoria. I love it. I think it's a great show. Hey, Diamond, I'm late. You got me to watch Bridgerton and watched it in one day. Yeah, I love Bridgerton. Hey, Vanessa. Let's see. Yeah, I love Euphoria. It revolves around Zendaya's character, who is dealing with addiction. She is dealing with addiction, and she's in a relationship with a trans woman named Jules, and they're high school age, and it's just Jules has never been with a woman, and she usually is hooking up with dudes for money or for free that she meet online. Stereotypical trans woman life. But yeah, it's a really, really good show. I think I did an episode. Didn't I do an episode on Euphoria? Didn't I do a live about Euphoria? Maybe not, but Euphoria is really good. It's a bunch of teenagers. It's not just Rue is the main one. Rue is the main one, but it's not just Rue's story. It's a couple of teenager stories. Yes. Well, the conversation we're having, you don't need to have watched the show. We're not going to go in a full deep dive. I'll go in a full deep dive on Marsha's Plate because next week we're going to be talking about it. Let's see. I've been watching Succession on HBO. I'm almost finished. I should start Euphoria after. Yes, you should. Hey, Isabella. Hey, Reggie. Will. Miss Polk. All right. So let's see. Thank you. I wore my black one last time, so now I'm going to wear my red one this time. Ooh, cute. My black one with the red bottom, now the red one with the black bottom. Oh, this is in my way. Yes. Speaking of addiction, did you watch the crack documentary on Netflix? I actually did, and it was so good. I didn't want to do a live about it because it's that subject is really tender right now because my mother passed away recently of a drug overdose, and so watching it got me real triggered, and I just didn't want to do a live about it. It's too tender right now. But it's really good. So I suggest I might talk about it later on, but it was too close to home right now. Right now in the space that I'm at now. But it's really, really good in breaking down the crack epidemic and the history of the political history of it. I thought that was good. Speaking, there's a movie that came out today called Haymaker about a bodyguard who takes care of a transgender woman. Have you heard of it? No, I'll write it down. Let me write it down so I can research it and check it out. Haymaker. All right. Y'all are bringing up stuff that, that Ready Rock. I got whole Pose reviews on my podcast, like of every episode. Every single episode I have reviewed of Pose every season on my podcast. You got it. I give you a full. I talked about Pose so much. The good, the bad, and the ugly. Um, yeah, it's so much Pose. But to give you a quick answer, yes, I think Pose is a good representation. I don't think it should be the only representation. I think there should be more. I think there should be more depth. I think that it's for a start. It is a good start. I have no issues with Pose. I think Pose is good. I have a couple of videos about Pose, and I have talked about Pose on my podcast a lot, a lot. Like there's even a playlist. If you go on Marsha's Play SoundCloud, it's a specific playlist for where I go through every Pose episode and break down the history of the episode. Because if you know Pose is a it's a fictional story, but they pull from real life events, like real life events, real people, real life events. So I go through and not only review the episode, but I also give you more real life context of the history of the particular episode. And I bring on a gay man to host with me. My normal hosts are Mia and Z. We're all trans people, but for the Pose reviews, I bring on a gay man because the Pose is centered around Black trans women and Black gay men's experiences in the ball scene. So I wanted to make sure I have a review that includes a Black gay man as my host. So the first season I hosted with my gay son Brandon, and the second season I hosted with Brian. Yeah, Brian. I have to find somebody to host it with me for the third season. So yes, I can't even get out a link because there's hella episodes of Marsha's Play. Yes, but if you go to my profile, there is a actual playlist of just the Pose ones. Let me see. So yeah, so let's talk about Euphoria. It is we. Oh, unless I got something else because we got. I would usually start in about 10 minutes just to give people some time to get in. Uh, I wish I could do it. You wish you could do what? My cat woke me up just in time for the live. Yes, I'm actually late. I usually start around, 7, but I had to go get me some child. I was hungry, 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 hungry. Ba-da-ba-ba. Can y'all hear me? Because I switched to my camera's mic instead of my computer's mic. Because it's been acting stupid. T.I. So I don't really know the details of what is going on with T.I., but what I see is that him and Tiny have allegedly been seducing minor age women to come into their bedroom with drugs and sex and weird shit like that. So I don't know the details, but it's getting real R. Kelly-ish with him and Tiny allegedly. But I feel like, isn't that on brand? I feel like any man who is overly obsessed with his daughter's hymen, they're right on that line. Far reach to be weird, be a weirdo like that. You know what I'm saying? Like I feel like any type of dude, any type of man that is weirdly protective, it's not anything wrong being protective over your family, boys and girls, in a healthy way as a father, being protective. But when you are overly protective about their sexuality, now somebody bothering them, blah, 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 of course you be protective. But I'm talking about you're overly protective of their virginity and their hymen and that weird shit like that. To me, that is a red flag for weirdo niggas. That is weird. That is weird. You being overly protective in that way, that's a red flag to me. So I'm sorry. They are pulling an Ed and Edwin in the book. Yeah, clearly. But I'm sure we'll see. T.I. has released a video denying it, of course. But the girl has released Sabrina, I think her name is Sabrina Nelson or something. I don't know. I can't remember. But she's like releasing screenshot of women coming to her. But that's also weird too. Like I'm not somebody who I'm not somebody who I'm not of the mindset to always believe everybody who says something. I'm not that. I'm not one of them people that just believe women or whoever is accusing somebody of something just because. No, I'm not of that that mindset. I believe when you present the story and it makes sense, not necessarily tons of evidence. Yeah, when we go to the law, you got to get your evidence. But just telling a story, I'm telling my experience. If it makes sense to me, I'm going to believe it. But when you get to doing clandestine stuff, like, oh, I don't want to, you sharing screenshots of people's apparent stories. We in the era of Me Too. I don't know. I feel like I don't think that's not my place to tell when people to come out about their stories. But when you still hiding and doing all that kind of stuff, I'm not gonna say you lying, but I ain't gonna be like, oh, you telling the truth either. I need more than just some screenshots. But like I said, it's not far to reach with Mr. Hyman Checker himself. Any anecdotes about Cicely Tyson? No. Cicely Tyson is an icon. There's nothing that I can say. One of my I watched in honor of her passing. I watched one of my favorite movies by her. It is one of the movies that most people like talk about Miss Jane Pittman or some of her Tyler Perry stuff or Sounders, the stuff that she got nominated for Oscar for. Like more her serious dramatic roles. They usually talk about her serious, more drama roles. But my favorite Cicely Tyson movie is Bustin' Loose with her and Richard Pryor. I loved that movie as a kid. It was, and I watched it again last night. I actually bought it last night just so I can watch it whenever I want to watch it without renting it. Bustin' Loose is, I think it was way before its time. We had a dark-skinned leading lady in a romantic comedy in 1981. That's kind of epic, and people didn't talk about it. We don't really see in that era dark-skinned leading ladies, let alone dark-skinned leading ladies in a romantic comedy. It was before its time. I loved it. Loved it, loved it, loved it, loved it. I liked the story. You know, it was 1981. Low budget, but it was good. It's called Bustin' Loose. Bustinloose. Bustin' Loose. She basically is taking care of these orphans, and she's trying to get them from Philadelphia to Seattle, to a farm in Seattle. And Richard Pryor is this this criminal on parole, and his probation officer is his parole officer is dating Vivian. Vivian is Cicely Tyson's character. His parole officer is dating Vivian, and Vivian want to get these orphan kids to her farm, her family farm, and because the state is not taking care of them, and she wants to take them and take care of them at her family farm. And so the parole officer convinces Richard Pryor, with the threat of sending him to jail, to help her drive the bus of kids all the way across country to Seattle. So all the action happens on the trip. So, and it's fun, it's funny, and she's just a beautiful class act, just a beautiful, just the image of her being intelligent, articulate in 81, y'all, are just intelligent, articulate, and the love interest and beauty interest of this movie as a dark-skinned woman in 81. It was kind of epic. But yes. I think that's it about that. So anyway, let's get to Euphoria. Now that we have 18 minutes. Whoever came to this video and was looking for Euphoria conversations, like, bitch, can you get to Euphoria? All right, so this episode of Euphoria, it starts off with Jewel. Jewel is a white trans woman who is, I would say she's not the main character, but Rue is the main character, which is Zendaya, but this is her girlfriend. And she's like this co-star. And the conversation opens up with her. In these episodes, remember, this is episodes they recorded after during the coronavirus. So they had to figure out a way to do shows that were central to a character that wasn't like a normal show. So the first episode with Rue about addiction was set in the diner with her mentor, like her AA mentor. And so, or her AA sponsor. What do you call them? If you're an AA and this is a person that's like your mentor, what do you call them? They call them something. There's a name for them. I know y'all know. What do you call, like, they're like your support from the AA classes. Is it your sponsor? I don't know. Y'all know what I'm talking about. So she's talking to her sponsor. Jules, her episode opens up where she's just having a conversation with her therapist, her new therapist. This is their first session. She wanted a new therapist, and she's coming to get off her hormones. And so, how it's kind of cute how they opened up the conversation, opened up the episodes, because the episode opens up with a song by Lords, who is I remember that song by Lord. I think that's her, yeah. Her song is called Liability, and it is, the lyrics are so on point for like a trans woman's experience. And so it's flashing back, it's zoomed into Jules' eye, and you see a reflection, like it's just the picture of her eye, just the camera is zoomed in on her eye, and in the reflection of her pupil, you are seeing what has happened in past episodes to Jewel in her eyes, in the reflection of her eyes. And so the lyrics and the image of her seeing what has happened to her in past episodes, it was kind of poetic and great cinematography. And so she starts off by talking about how she's telling the therapist that she wants to get off her hormones. And so, but within the process of her telling her she wants to get off the hormones, she was like, she's kind of avoiding certain conversations, like avoiding conversations with her therapist about the mom or her childhood. She's like, I don't want to go into that on our first episode. And so she started talking about how she's framing her entire womanhood around men and their desires. And so, and she makes this critique. Do you agree with the therapist describing Jules' wish to get off hormones as detransitioning? No, not necessarily. I think detransitioning for a trans person is a trans person who does not no longer want to live in as the gender that they were transitioning to. They want to go back or go back some. Do you see what I'm saying? So if she is still living her life as a woman, just getting off of hormones, that's not detransitioning. I haven't been on hormones since 2013. I just didn't like how they were making me feel. I think it started to be weird. But she also said she wanted to stay. When she brought up detransitioning, I still want to stay on my blockers. So she was still going to be on a certain type of medications, but it was something about her hormones that she was connecting her hormones. The problem was, this is really what the problem was. She was making it seem like her hormones was the problem, but it really isn't the problem. When you get through the show, you realize that her trauma, where she's trying to avoid the conversation with her about the trauma with her mother, but her trauma with her mother is directly connected with her trauma and her what's the word? Her tumultuous relationship with Rue. Her unhealthy, codependent relationship with Rue. Like, it's literally a reflection of that relationship. It's a reflection of, her trauma with her mom. And it hasn't turned into something as negative as her mom, but like Rue is a reflection of that. Like, she's just like her mom was dependent on her and her forgiveness and end up basically killing herself. Rue's sobriety being dependent on Jules is also unhealthy and codependent and all that kind of shit. And in the first episode, you hear Rue talking about it with her AA sponsor. Like, yo, like it's something weird about it's just something about Jules that just does it for me. So I've been clean for 2 weeks because of her. And when you put your sobriety on fucking on something on the basis of another person who is imperfect, you know, that's setting you up for failure. Because as soon as they fail, you're gonna relapse. But my thing, one of the main things that I loved about the beginning of the episode is when she was saying that she thought she spent her transition early in her transition trying to conquer femininity, but somewhere along the way, femininity conquered her. And so I kind of want to explore that. Like, how did y'all feel? Yeah, the Root episode did make me cry. Um, and yes, it made me reflect on my transition. Um, because turfs kind of do this too. So I want to explore it, but in a healthy kind of way. Because they always bring this shit up almost to discredit your womanhood, but I'm not bringing it up for that. I'm bringing it up for, I think it's a healthy examination of your motivations, healthy examinations of how patriarchy controls what we think about women. So sometimes TERFs will bring up, you're just performing womanhood how you think womanhood should be. When we all are doing that. Cisgender women are too. Like we all are performing womanhood in the way that we're taught to perform it. And when we get older, some of us, not all of us, some of us continue what we were taught, what we were conditioned. And this is just not. I'm talking from a woman point of view, but the same thing goes with manhood. Like, however we're taught to present on the binary, whatever that looks like, whether you're from the South and or from up north or whatever the woman stereotypes, the woman norms are, gender norms are for your gender. You are conditioned to be that. You are conditioned to perform that. You are conditioned, whether you are trans, whether you are cisgendered, soon as you're born, you're inundated with these rules, these gender norms about how you're supposed to present, how you're supposed to look, how you're supposed to act. And so, what that looks like, it could look like, oh, you dress this way. For a woman, you let your hair grow out. You don't cut your hair. And then when you get older, even if you do not, usually, this is not all the time, but usually, even if you don't go, some of us go along with those gender norms. Like, okay, this is how a woman is supposed to dress, blah, 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 blah. But some of us, that becomes the antithesis. We become the antithesis of that. But it's still in response to that. So, for example, if I'm a woman and I'm taught that women are this delicate, feminine thing, so they wear dresses, they wear heels, da 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 da. But I reject that. So I'm going to do things that are opposite of that for me. So I'm going to wear blazers. I'm going to wear tennis shoes. I'm going to wear Doc Martens. I'm going to wear. It is still what this looks like is still in response to that femininity. So it's going to look a certain way and still be, do you get what I'm saying? Still be run by this. Do you know what I'm saying? So yes, these rules and rebellion. Now, this is not everybody, but I know y'all, I'm just giving you this example because you see it. So it's like responding to white supremacy. If everything I do is intentionally opposite of let's say beauty standards, or style, da 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 da. If everything I do is in response to white supremacy beauty standards or white supremacy
I'm trying to do things that are opposite of that. I'm still being controlled by white supremacy. So if everything I do is I'm gonna wear dreadlocks, I'm gonna wear all African stuff. I'm gonna do all the things that are opposite of white supremacy. And there's no flow of what I want. It's my whole choices are being made in response to white supremacy. I am still being controlled by white supremacy. Now let's put it into femininity. If everything that I do is in response to these rules of femininity, okay? If I'm a woman and I wear masculine clothes because I don't want to wear feminine clothes. I only wear boots and shoes. I am still centering these rules of femininity. I'm not being free. Yes, I'm rebelling against it. So somebody looking at me could assume, oh, she's not buying into the patriarchy. She's not wearing dresses. She's not wearing her hair long. She's not doing all the stereotypical stuff of that they say that we should do as women. So she's a radical. She's going against the grain. But actually, yes, she's going against the grain, but her actions are still in response to that. It's still not free. Does that make sense? It's still not free. And as a trans woman, I see this a lot. I saw this when I was younger, not so much now, but when I was younger with myself, and when I see girls early transition, they are trying to do the extreme of femininity. They are trying to do the extreme. Soon as they get a little bit of titties, they always out. They're always out. They always wearing stripper, slutty clothes. It's never regular girl clothes. It's just always the extreme. It's like they always want to look like strippers. They always want to be hyper sexualized, hyper feminine. There's no kind of nuance in how they present. It's just all of that. And I remember when I was younger, I used to be that too. When I go out, it was going to always be high femme. It was never any kind of freedom. It was in response to what I thought. I wanted to be the opposite of men, whatever I thought the opposite was, because now not only am I trying to stamp my identity in the minds of people, I'm also trying to attract a certain type of man. Your ideas are still being informed by that, whether you're conform or rejected. Exactly. And I don't think people realize that. I think freedom, to me, as I got older, I'll answer that, Amber, in a few. Freedom was doing whatever I wanted to do, regardless of gender, regardless of social norms, doing whatever I want to do. Am I fully free? Probably not, but I'm not concerned with my presentation as much as I was in my younger days. So I remember I stopped playing video games for like 10 years because I thought it was a masculine thing. And I loved video games. I was a gamer. But that was me creating these gender rules in my own mind. You see what I'm saying? It was me creating these things where I was like, oh, wait, that's masculine. I'm not going to do that. I remember in college, I always wore heels, tennis shoes and Jordans. That shit was tomboyish and masculine when I was in high school. So when I got to college, I didn't do that shit. That shit was tomboy and masculine. Even though it wasn't logical for me to think like that, but I saw regular women wearing Jordans, wearing tennis shoes, but in my mind, that was masculine, so that wasn't for me. And I was trying to convince motherfuckers I'm a woman. This is what I am. So you gonna always see me in heels. Baby, now you barely. Now sometimes, like if I got an event or something, you might. If I can't figure out an outfit that I can't that's fly without me wearing, if I can figure out an outfit that's fly without me wearing them, baby, you ain't gonna see them. So, when I was younger, I used to have these rules, and then when I got older, it just changed. I felt like I got more freedom, particularly after I turned 30. When I got out of sex work, in 2009, and I turned 30 in 2011. So that transition out of sex work is just different. When you're in sex work, for you to make money, you have to cater to a certain level of femininity. And so once I got out of sex work and I wasn't in that work anymore, and I started to be able to dress and do how I wanted to do, and without those rules being at the center of my justification, I just got more free. And I'm definitely more free now, freer than I was before in my younger years. And so I just saw it a lot. I saw it a lot when I see trans women in their early transition. I'm like, you are performing a certain type of womanhood. You are performing a certain type of womanhood, and you are in a box. You're not seeing how. And some girls, I'd be like, you're getting clocked. This is a whole other thing. I'm like, sometimes like that hyper femininity can get you clocked. Like, I'm like, if you are a regular, like you just went out, say it was possible. You just went out regular in some regular clothes, like regular girls do, you would get clocked less. But because you running around in stripper clothes, going to Kroger's, you gonna get clocked. Are there some cisgender women who run around in stripper clothes going to Kroger's? Probably. That's not the norm. But yeah, I'm sure. I remember this lady who used to come in the Bath and Body Works with her daughters. She always had some tall ass fucking heels, stripper heels. I'm talking about stripper heels, not just heels like regular tall heel, like stripper heels. Them Cinderella glass slipper stripper heels. She was super, super skinny with jeans with sparkles on them, and her titties was fake and up in the air and always out. She had super long Pamela Anderson blonde hair. She had a very old school Pamela Anderson 1990s white girl look. Exactly like Pamela Anderson. And she's coming to Bath and Body Works with her daughter looking like that. And she's a cis woman. So do I see it? Yes, I see it. But that's not, but even her, she's performing that for a reason. It's not really, and that's what I mean. It's not really her. She's performing that because that's what she thinks. That is the look. That is the tea. It's not really because she wants to wear it. It's not really because it's her. So, yeah. Anyway, so Amber, do you feel the show hypersexualizes Jules in comparison to Rue due to her transness? This may be controversial. I'm gonna just say it. This may be problematic. This might not be. This may be problematic. That's cool. I'll take the hit for it. But a trans woman's life is quite sexual. Everyone that I know. And this might be my own personal experience, but I'm everyone that I know, and I know a lot of them. When you sit and talk to them, It's like gay men. It's like when you sit and talk to gay men. It's like there is an overlap of sexuality, because when when you get to the point where you accept yourself, you know, and you're not giving a fuck, and you can have the freedom to talk about sexuality. In the cishet cultures, sexuality is if you want to be respectable, it's toned down. But over on the queer side, lesbian, gay, trans, da 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 da. On the queer side, baby, we free and talking about shit. We free and talking about sucking dick and getting our ass ate and da 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 da, doing orgies. Now, I don't think it's as sexual. I don't think a trans life is as sexual as gay men's, from my personal perspective, of being very close to many gay men, very close to many trans women. I don't think it's as sexual as gay men, but I don't think it's as unsexual as cis women. I think that there's a level of freedom when you on this side that we explore, where it's not saying that cis women can't be sexual, not at all. But I'm talking about there are real consequences to a woman being sexual, a cis woman being sexual, that for her to be on that extreme level, she had to say, fuck it. It's like a fuck it. Where us, there's in our culture, there's an acceptance for sexuality that is not over on the cisgender side. I hope that makes sense. It's not saying that they're not on this cisgender side. There's not people who are open sexually. Yes, that exists, but it's more politically incorrect to be open sexually on that side than it is over here. On our side, it's actually the norm for us to be sexual. Hope that makes sense. They might not want to admit that, but find a cis woman. Okay, let's say this. It's easier to find a cis woman that has never had a threesome than it is to find a gay man that hasn't had a threesome. Like, and then you have the trans woman in the middle, where we might not be as salacious as over here, but we not as prudish as over here either. I think queer people are part of so many marginalized communities that by the time we become adults, we don't give a fuck about what people think. Yes, and that comes with a level of freedom around anything, around how we dress, around how we how our sexualities, around freedom to explore certain things, art, so many things. We're not as inhibited. I guess that's better to say. We're not as inhibited. That's a more politically correct to say it. It's almost expected. Yes, and it's almost expected. We do not have the luxury, and which is quite interesting when you look at, and I'm gonna say AMAB, which is assigned male at birth. I know, because I'm thinking about some of the lesbians I know too. I don't know. On the queer side, just in my experience, we don't. How there is a dichotomy, a binary of Madonna and whore. Like you have the Madonna, the pure, the prudish, the modest being who is almost virginal, and then you have the Jezebel, the slut, the hoe, the sexual, the hypersexual, da da da. When you are a queer person, because that is a part of your identity, you actually don't have the luxury to be on this side. Could you? You could be a total virgin. Like I remember when I hadn't had sex yet, and I still was thought to be on this side. Just because I had chose to have an identity of queerness, even though I was not promiscuous, I still was on the promiscuous. I still had the promiscuous label. It didn't matter what I had actually done, just the fact that I was queer. Of course, you're sexual. You're queer. Of course. Hey, Miss Harris. It's like, and I think that there's a level of that. It's going kind of deep, but there's a book by Melissa Harris Perry called Sister Citizen. Let me see if I can find it on. One second. Yes, it's by Lynn. Let's see. It's called Sister Citizen. There's a link on Amazon. Let me see. Ooh, this is an excellent point. People like to assume I'm geeky and stuff, and I barely have sexual experience. Yes. So I think there's a level of sexual. There's a level because there's levels to this. I think it also happens to black women, minority women, not just black, because I see it in Asian women. Like, there's a sexualization that happens because of the stereotypes of them. The spicy Latina. Oh yeah, you're fire and you're hot. Of course, you're sexy. It's not going to be to the extreme that it happens to queer folks, but just because you're a minority, sometimes it happens. Oh yeah, you're a submissive young slut because you are Asian girl. Y'all all are submissive and will do whatever I want you to do because that is just a part of your culture to bow down to a man's needs because you're a submissive young hot Asian baby. It's always a level of that. But I think as you get over to the queer side, it just gets more extreme. Like, how many trans women do you meet in your mind? We are being juxtaposed to the social standards, aka whiteness. Absolutely. How many trans women do you meet in your mind and be like, I bet she's a virgin? Very few, if any. If any. How many gay men do you meet and you be like, oh, I bet they're a virgin? No, you don't meet them and be like, you exactly when they decide to come out as queer, you automatically assume that they done for you to decide to be queer, your ass done got some dick or some pussy if you're a lesbian. But for me, in my own life experiences, it was times that I hadn't had sex. I had sex with dick, but I hadn't got fucked. And honey, everybody had thought that I was just out here fucking and sucking and doing all the stuff, but I wasn't yet. Yeah. So I don't think we have the luxury to be that pure, modest Madonna ideal. I don't think we have the luxury to do that. So to answer your question, Amber, do I feel the show hypersexualized Jules? I think that they do it in a way that's appropriate to where she is in her transition. I think early in your transition, she is trying to find herself, and she is trying to do it through texting and through meeting guys online and hooking up with guys online. I remember being this person. I remember my my identity was so connected to the dudes that I could pull. I remember being that girl. I remember being that girl where, you know, me getting on, y'all remember getting on the chat line? What's up? This is your girl Diamond. I'm light skinned, green and brown eyes, sexy lips, ready to suck some dick. You need to be open-minded. Press 1 to accept your introduction. Press 2 to re-record. I would be on the chat line. This is prior to the internet being popping, or being popular. You know, that's what it would give. And you would meet people, and let me go into. Do y'all remember, since I'm being nostalgic about that? How did y'all used to hook up with people on the chat lines? I would give them the wrong address. I would give them an address that I could see. Like if I was in an apartment, I would give them a whole nother door or building that I could see. So if you find, I'll come out and give you the real address and be like, oh, I'm over here. Just so I could see what you look like before you actually come to my door. I used to do that. Then if you ugly, I just won't answer I won't answer the phone no more, or I'll just block you. Did y'all used to do that, or that just me? I used to do that all the time. But what was crazy about the chat line is that the stereotype it's like online dating. I don't think it's like that anymore because everybody is online now. So we know that it's attractive, fine. You know, we know that it's everything under the sun on the internet now. But back in the day, the stereotype was that if you were online or on the chat line, that you were ugly. And in my experience, that was the opposite. Yeah, was it some ugly folks on there? Sure. Yes. But I ran into some zaddies. I ran into some yummies. Have the unit or building number be off by the past digit so you can scope them at first. Yes, I did that all the time. Particularly when I lived in apartments. That made it better. When I lived in my house, I had to make them go to my neighbor's house, which was kind of annoying. I would have to make them go to the place across the street where I can see, but they would have to knock on my neighbor's door, setting the trade up to have someone's husband open the door, giving out other people's address. Yes, God. I used to do that all the time. Oh, then me and my gay homeboy. Oh, my gay friend Mario. I did a video about my friend Mario. Did I still have that video up? One of them is called Long Friendship. That was when our friendship was ending. Ending long friendship, something like that. But before, when we was younger, I would pull niggas for him. Like we would get on the chat line. He would come because I had my own apartment, and he would come to my house, and I would get on the chat room. I would get on the chat line, and I would tell dudes. We would bring them over because it's a different kind of risk when you are with you and other people. It's different when you by yourself. You got to be careful with that. But when you with other people, you can take a little bit more risk. And so I used to be like, well, if you want to hook up with me, you got to let my friend suck your dick. And he a gay boy. You down or no? And I wouldn't be telling my team. And I would sit back and watch my friend suck that dick. Especially if I didn't live for him. I would let my friend suck his dick and then be like, nah, I'm okay. At the end of the session, after my friend done made him nut, and and send them out. I'm all right. Get out. We used to do a bunch of niggas like that. Were they thinking I'm the fish? I'm trying to stop saying fish. Well, I'm thinking that they thinking I'm a cis woman. That I used to have so much fun when we were young. Or we just would, we both would be on the chat line together and just bringing them over. And it was about pulling the fine dudes. It was about pulling the fine dudes. When you would go to the skating rink, like I remember me and this chick named Strawbella, me, Bella, sometime my friend Deja, y'all know Deja. We would go to the rink. We would go to different clubs in the city, straight clubs, and it was about who was gonna pull the niggas, and not who was gonna pull more, but we all pulling them. It was about who can pull the trade. That's what it was. That was I don't want to say your claim to fame, but that was what it was about. I remember we had left, me and Bella. This is when we were friends. We weren't friends at the end of her life. She passed away recently, but in the beginning of our relationship, we were cool as hell. And so it was one time we had all went down to Betty Boop's, which is one of the clubs that was in Indianapolis, and we're riding home from the club, and we in a car, and these dudes, Bella has always been like a freak. Like she messed with everything. She messed with everything from gay boys to lesbians. She's always been like that ever since I met her when we was young, 13, 14. She was always into everything. Boys, gay boys, trannies. We called them transies at the time. Lesbian. She was fucking everything under the sun. It didn't matter. So we were going home with one of the lesbians, and they were driving us home. And we pull up. We're going up College because she lived on Fairfield, and she lived on Fairfield, 34th and Fairfield. And we're driving up College, and these dudes pull up on us, like two fine ass hood niggas. They pull up on us. They like, damn, baby girls. Da, 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 da. So we got the lesbian with us, and there's two trans women in the car. So they follow us all the way to her apartment. When the lesbian drops us off, the dudes get out the car and they trying to holler at us or whatever. So we're going up to the door of the apartment, right? And the dude one of the dudes pull up to get out the car and come to the door with us. Like, yo, the party, he's basically saying, don't go in, come on, come with us. But when he walks up on Bella, he clocks her. But he says, wait. Oh, okay. I know what's going on. But yo, still come with us. Just don't tell my nigga. Just don't say nothing to my nigga. I'm like, what? So we being young and dumb, taking more risks than what we would if we were adults. We get in the car. This bitch get in the back seat with the dude who know our tea. He just the one that just clocked, and force me in the front seat with the dude who don't know our tea. But I'm that girl, so okay. So I'm in the front seat. The dude that don't know our tea is in the driver's seat, and the dude, his name is Duck. He's in the back with Bella. Bella done start pulling out the dick to start pulling out Doug's dick and is sucking it. So you know the nigga in the front seat is like, yo, she back there for down with the shits. What you up here doing? Ain't you down with the shits too? But I'm like, this nigga know the tea. This nigga know the tea. So she playing games that I would play if, honey, Now Bella had got in like a car accident or something. So her mouth, it was something that had happened to her jaw that she had to get her jaw wired shut because of the accident. So she really couldn't suck dick like that. She really couldn't suck dick good because of something that went on with her jaw. So she really back there playing with that dick, and Duck got a big ass dick, and I'm like, you're really back there not really doing the work that needs to be done. So we end up riding to this hotel out on 18th and Shaler. And so we get to basically we hook up with these two dudes in the hotel. Oh, I'm hooking up with the dude the one that was next to me driving. His name was Damon and Duck. So we on two different beds. Bella's hooking up with Duck. I'm hooking up with Damon. So I say just oral at this point. So I say switch because Damon end up nutting because I don't have the ailments. So she can't make Duck nut. So we switch and I make him nut. So now I done did all the work. Now this is whole free hoe shit. I wish that I knew shit about money at this age, but we was not, didn't know nothing about no motherfucking money. This is all free hoe shit. We could have been getting paid for because they had coins too. But we young, dumb, not even worried about no coins. Not even thinking about no coins at all. And so Bella get to wanting to get plunged by the dude. Now she want to get plunged by dude is now we in the situation where everybody done nutted, so the trade done calmed down. But she trying to get plunged by Duck because Duck knows tea. Damon doesn't know tea. So she wants to suck his piece while getting plunged by Duck. Now, girl, we've been at this club all night. We didn't get to go in the house because we went out the car, got to the door, but didn't go in the house. We came back to the car with the dudes and we drove in. I'm like, sweetie, I know you ain't got no bottles to be playing in to clean that booty hole out. So, girl, are you about to deal this nigga? Why you trying to get plunged by this big old meat? Because this ain't no meat that you can just take. This is a big old thing. So, honey, I know you about to deal him. Are you about to deal him, girl? And so I get her in the bathroom and I'm like, girl, if you deal him, girl, that's gonna get us clocked. and Bella is like, girl, he already know my tea. I'm not fucking the other one. I want the other one to fuck me. And and I was like, girl, if you deal him, I'm gonna have to leave. Cause that's gonna make me cackle. It's gonna make me like, but it didn't end up fucking him. She didn't end up fucking him, so she didn't do nothing. And they end up actually taking us home. And that's what it was. But when we were younger, it just was a different level of sexuality because, and I said all this to explain why it's kind of normal, Amber. For I think at this age, for it to be sexual stuff happening. Now there is a critique of having her more naked than than Rue. There is a critique. I can get that, but I want to my mindset is I want to normalize the trans body. And so I didn't mind it. I want to normalize the trans body, so I don't mind the images of trans women being on the on screen. So yes. Let me see what else I want to talk about. Oh, another element of the show that I thought was quite, just was like a beautiful metaphor. She was talking about the how puberty was a scary thing because it represented, it was all about a deepening, or like a deepening of your voice, a thickening of your body, like the masculinization of your body, and a widening, wider back. Everything was about being thick, deep, and wide. That's what it represents. That's what puberty represented to her, and that's why she got on hormones. And so she was like, that's, it was scary to her because she always felt like she was going to be, it was going to keep her from the femininity that she was trying to conquer at the time when she was, before she had started Moans. And she was like, she would just become this man and she couldn't get to where she wanted to be. But then she was like, but then I think of other things that I think that are deep and thick and wide and like the ocean. And she made this beautiful metaphor of how the ocean is feminine as fuck, but it's thick, it's deep and wide, and it's strong. And I think that as I get older, and for me, I think as I get older, I think my femininity is becoming that, like the ocean. It's becoming thicker. It's becoming wider. It's becoming deeper. It's becoming more free. It's becoming stronger because I don't have to do all the shit that I can do it. If I want to sex kitten it up, I can when I want to. But I don't have to do it and for me to feel womanly. For me to feel like I'm presenting the woman that I want to present, I don't have to do that stuff. And yes, I think that comfortability comes along with the body modifications that you get. I can't say that I would feel the same way if I didn't have big old titties and, I can't say that I would feel the same way. I think I've gotten my body and my look to a certain level where I don't have to do all of that stuff to feel feminine anymore. And so, so I feel like what I'm doing now is a more authentic me. It's less performative. Won't say that it's not performative at all, but it's way less performative than it was in my teens. As someone who isn't perfectly passable, I deeply relate to her comments made about femininity conquering me. Her noting of the ocean in relation to puberty so stuck me and made me feel so loved as someone who got into the transition at the end of my teenage years. Yes, it definitely was. I thought it was a beautiful, beautiful metaphor. The ocean metaphor was beautiful. Especially as a person who practiced African traditional religion, and knowing that Yemoja which is like the Orisha of like motherhood and nurturing and the ocean, salt water. Yeah, she's one of the most feminine entities. She's a divine feminine. And so, yeah, I thought that was a beautiful, but still strong, still will kill your ass, still uncontrollable. You get what I'm saying? Like the ocean is exactly what I think femininity is. It can be soft, it can be calm, it can be all encompassing, it can be comforting, it can be you can hear the waves rushing in, and it's beautiful at night. In the day, the ocean is a feminine entity, but that shit will fuck you up. It's strong as shit and can kill you, bitch, if you play too much. Oh. But yes, I love this episode. It explored so many different things that I thought about. Even the relationship with Rue. Like, remember when she was talking about how Rue looked at her in a way, like she started to talk about how girls. What did she say? She was talking about the female assessment. Like when you engage with a girl or woman for the first time, when you first talk to them, they automatically analyze you and compare themselves to you. They are comparing and see how you fit in their hierarchy, and they treat you accordingly. And I thought that that was a deep observation, not necessarily deep, but you know, something that we know as women. When you engage with other women, especially when you first meet them, they are figuring out where you fit in the hierarchy of beauty, where you fit in the hierarchy of femininity, and comparing themselves to you. Um, um, Particularly as a trans woman, they're looking to see how you perform womanhood. Are your hands big? Are your you know, where's your Adam's apple? Where is your line strong? Is your like what are the things that is indicating to me that this used to be a boy? This used to be a man. What are the things what things don't you have that I'm used to thinking that trans women should have? They're assessing you, but you know, cis women assess other cis women. It's just not rooted in that trans stuff. They want to know, like, do you got Louboutins on? Do you got a real bag on? Do you know, are you fat? Are you skinny? Do you got a muscular body? Do you got a nice booty, or do you got big titties? Like, what is it what kind of social capital do you have based on your looks in comparison to mine? You know, and treat you different and treat you in the way that whatever way that I think you are, that I think you should be treated based on that. That happens a lot. And even when she was like, even when they think they're hiding it, you can tell that they're doing it. I also love that Hunter embraces her features as well. She got no FFS, and I admire her androgyny as well. Yes, I think she looks great. I think she's one of those people that I don't know. I think that's a privilege too, though. Jesse, is it Jess or Jesse? Is that how you say that? I think that's a privilege too. I think we can talk about that privilege also with India Moore, Angel from Pose. Um, they are so androgynous that they pass. And so that gives them a level of privilege to be a little bit more freer. If they looked more masculine, they couldn't pull that off. Their androgyny is a like, I remember Jules. I didn't realize that Jules was trans until that scene with the teacher, when she was having sex with the teacher, and she a minor. When she was having sex with the teacher in season 1, I didn't realize that she was trans until well into that scene, where I was like, whoa, hold on. I think there are certain girls who are androgynous enough to pass. Like, you know who else is androgynous enough to pass? The wig guy, Alonzo Arnold. I think I talked about him. Y'all know Alonzo, right? Alonzo is a boy, but they get dressed up and get cute, but they are just naturally look like a damn girl without any work. And there are some people who are like that. That it doesn't some people just don't need all of that. Is androgyny when you look like both genders? Yes. Where you could look like, but that is, she doesn't identify as trans now. I don't know if it's going to come later, but right now she doesn't act, she's a man, she's a boy. She doesn't they don't but yeah, they always stay getting beat. Oh wait, hold on. Oh, gorgeous. It's gorgeous. Yeah, it's very, very gorgeous. Very, very gorgeous. Sorry I had to pop out for a second. How did we get to androgyny? We're talking about Hunter Schafer, the actress that plays Jules, and we're talking about the privilege of some people who are androgynous. My favorite androgynous person is B. Scott. Um, B. Scott is androgynous, but I don't think B. Scott looks like a woman. I think B. Scott looks like a feminine, beautiful man. I don't think I don't think B. Scott oscillates to the point where you think that he was born a woman. I think B. Scott was born a man. He's just a pretty man. Um, Shave, um, Hunter and Alonzo Arnold. I think that when you see them, they could easily read as cisgender to you. I don't think B. Scott, while he is androgynous, I don't think B. Scott reads as, to me, as a cisgender woman ever. I feel like he reads as a pretty man. Yeah, I never saw. Yeah, I never saw B. Scott look like a woman to me. I feel like they look like a beautiful man. Beautiful. No matter how they had their hair or makeup for me. They look like a beautiful man. Like gray hair, great makeup, but I still feel like you look like a cisgender man. But it's certain people that I think that they read. Yeah, me too. One of the YouTube OGs. But it's certain people that I feel like their androgyny is so strong that you don't know what they are. Like you don't know whether they're a boy or a girl. I think that's pure androgyny, where I don't know what you are. To me, where I don't know what this is, what's happening here, which I think is a cool way to be, actually. But I also think it's a privilege. It's a part. It's a part of it. It can translate to a privilege. Do you think all trans women are androgynous in a way? No. I guess if you had them all naked, sure. What about Grace Jones? People always say she's androgynous, but she always refilmed to me. Yeah, I think androgynous. I think Grace Jones is androgynous, but she's like B. Scott, but on the opposite side. I feel like Grace Jones, I never read Grace Jones as a man. I never see Grace Jones and be like, oh, she looks like a man. Like she looks, I know that that was born a woman. Are there some there's some masculine things with the box and da da da? Sure. Yes, but I know that that was a cisgender woman. That's how I feel about B. Scott. I never read B. Scott as a woman. I never read Grace Jones as a man. But they both are androgynous. They are androgynous, but just have masculine and feminine things about them. B. Scott has the long, silky black hair, makeup done, da da da. Grace Jones has the box and the height, and just some things that make her more masculine. But never read her as a man. Never. She's just out the box woman. Who else? But I think that pure androgyny is those people who you could look at them and they could be either or. I think India Moore is that. When India Moore has all her shit, like her hair, all that kind of stuff, she looks just like a cis girl. But when she take all of that off, now that she has cut her hair, you can see that she could easily be just a beautiful boy. You see what I'm saying? Just a beautiful. She's just that thing in the middle, that non-binary thing. She's exactly what she is. She could easily pass as a woman, but easily be just a beautiful boy if that's what she wanted to do. India is a she and her and a they and them. She goes by both. So yes, she goes by both. She's explained this a lot. She doesn't mind she from people in the community. She wants cisgender people to call her they them just so they can get used to it. But she goes by both. Do you feel like non-binary is somewhat androgyny? No, I think androgyny is about I think non-binary is a gender identity. And I think androgyny is more around gender expression. MJ, is that her name? I don't think MJ is androgynous or intended to be androgynous. MJ Rodriguez. Yeah, that's just a regular trans woman. India's looks now is reminiscent of how she looked in Saturday Church. I can't remember that. I never watched that. She's a binary trans woman. Yeah, MJ is just a regular trans woman. Ruby Rose, the white one. Ruby Rose, I don't get androgyny from her. I get a beautiful white girl. I get a short hair white girl, but I just get a beautiful white girl with a short haircut. But that could be androgyny. But that's why androgyny is more gender expression and not gender identity. You can identify your gender identity as a non-binary person. Where androgyny is more about the expression, your gender expression.
Who else? Yeah. But I used to, because I remember this dude I met on Tag. It was two dudes that I met. One I met on Tag, and one was a client when I used to escort. This dude, he hit me up, and I thought that he was a stud. He had dreads. Um, He was light skinned. He was. I just thought that he was a stud, and so he hit me up trying to holler at me, and I was like, and I didn't want to be rude, so I was like, but I literally thought it was a stud, and I was like, have you? I was like, sweetie, I'm a trans woman, because I thought that this was a stud hit me up because they thought I was this girl. And I was like, oh, sweetie, I'm a trans woman. I'm not, thinking that was going to be like, oh, I thought you was cis. No, thank you. And he was like, oh, you beautiful though. I ain't never messed with a trans woman, but, I would like to meet you. And I was like, oh, well, I ain't really into girls like that. Like, I'm thinking that this is a stud. And I was like, well, I ain't really like a lesbian, so I don't know what. And he was like, what? I was like, I'm not a lesbian. He was like, what does that got to do with me? And he was like, I was like, aren't you a lesbian? And he was like, nah, I'm a man. And I was like, what? I was like, you look like a stud. And he was like, what? I ain't never heard that before. I was like, you look like a stud to me. You look like a woman with dreads. His face was so womanly. And he was like, I ain't never. And he sent me nude pictures with his dick out to prove that he was not a woman. Dick was big. I was like, oh man, I thought that you were a woman. Then I had a client back in like 2010. Not 2010. It had to be like 09 or early 2010. I know I was in the transition of not being an escort. And so he had contacted me, and I was like, oh, you trying to set something up? Da, 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 da. I was like, sure, cool. Where did you see? No, okay, yeah, it was 2010. I didn't have any ads up, but sometimes when you're an escort, you put ads up in places that you don't know that they are up. And so you don't remember them and they still be up. And so he found me on one of those places. And he walks in, and he's a bigger guy, like plus size. And honey, he comes in, he got all these thighs and these hips, and he got this long ass hair that's like real curly and long, like natural. And he got it pulled back in a ponytail. And he's about my height. He's about like 5'11". And so he's not too tall. He's not too short. He's just like, for me, from my vantage point, he's just regular. And so he tips into my house with these thighs and these hips. And I'm like, honey, this is a woman that done came to see me. And I go, we get the money, because anytime you come in my house, I always say, well, let's get the money out of the way, sweetie. Just so you're not bullshitting. And so I get the money, and I walk into the bathroom, and I'm sitting there looking in the mirror like, oh my God, this is about to be weird as shit, because this is a woman. I thought that this was a woman. And I was like, oh my God, and I need this little coin, and I don't know what I'm going to do. Because I ain't never been with no woman before. And I was like, oh my God, how do I get this money but not do nothing? Like, it was so weird. I was like, oh God. And so I came out, and I was like, oh, so and I didn't want to ask him. It just was so strange. Like, I didn't know how to do it.
Baby, he had leaned back and opened up his whole little legs, and honey, I saw a piece. So this was not a woman. This is not a woman. And I was like, oh, whew, I'm used to this. Okay. Let's go to work. But there have been people that I have met that unintentionally don't pass. Because I sure thought that both of them was women. But yeah. What else I want to talk about? We're on our last 30 minutes. This is the freestyle 30 minutes. Boy, get out my face. Manny Fresh and Kevin Gates always give me stud energy. No, I always read them as mean. But I have seen pictures of like memes and shit of them. Like we all know a lesbian that look like this, which is hilarious. I get my life. Let's see. What y'all think about this Wall Street shit? This Robin Hood, Dogcoin, GameStop. Everybody complaining about their Robin Hood shit going down. But my Robin Hood stuff ain't going down. My Robin Hood stuff is nice. My stocks are up. I started off with $1,300 and I'm at 1758. Reddit had the big money bag. Shook right. They was shaking the table, baby. Mine is good. I don't know what they was feeling. Young Bieber always gave me L&T's. I know this is off topic, but would you happen to know to record two different screens for how to record two different screens for YouTube reaction videos? No, I don't. Mm-mm. I know there's a way on Final Cut, I think, but I'm not for sure. Have you watched Cracking the Gender Code here on YouTube? No, post the link in the chat so I can watch it later. What is it about? Live. Yes, I have. We have a review on it on our show on Marsha Play. I think it's like 2 episodes ago or 1 episode ago. 1 or 2 episodes ago. I got bored, so I didn't watch it to the end, but I watched some of it. But I got bored. But me and Z loved it. How easy, difficult is Robin Hood? It's not difficult at all. It's a gamble, like it's gambling. You are gambling with your money. But the risk and gain, that's just what it is. The basic, like this is super, super simplified. So don't quote me because I'm not no stock expert. But the basic bottom line is your goal is to buy low in stocks and hope that the company, you're hoping that the company grows to a level to where that stock that you buy at $1, it grows to the level where it becomes worth $100. So what you buy, if you bought 100 stocks at $1, and then now each one of those are 100, you got, how much is that? 100 times 100? A lot of money. What is that? 4 zeros? How much is that? $10,000? You just made $10,000 when you sell those stocks. That's the simple, very simplified version. The problem is every company is not going up. Every company is not going down. You gotta guess. There's so many companies to choose from that you are guessing which one maybe grow, which one grows in the hopes. You're in the hopes that it will grow, and some of them don't. Yes, 100 times 100 times 100 is not $1,000. I think that's $10,000. 100 times 10 is 1,000. I think 100 times 100 is 10,000. I think I'm not good at math. I'm a talker, but I'm not a math person. Hold on, let me see. 100 times 100. Yeah, that's 10,000. I ain't that bad. If you want your money, how do you run your coins? So you just close the account. You deposit your money. Not close your account. Let me show you. So when you go to your account on your deposits, you go, oh, my phone is about to die. Let me plug it in. Hold on. So right here, when you go to your little face account, like right here, the last one over to the left, you go over here and then you say transfer. And then it's going to be transferred to your bank. And then you'll have a certain amount of money that's available once your sales go through, once it all go through and be done, that's available for you to transfer to your bank. So right here, it says unsettled funds, brokerage cash, and how much. So right now, I only have until these stocks that I just sold go through. I don't have no money. It's 60 cents. But when these stocks, but I just sold them. It takes a while for the money to get through. So once you sell, I'll have 1,064. Yeah, I started off with 1,000. I started off with 1,000 on Robinhood, and then I added another 300. So I've only grown. I started that probably in December. I don't think I did it because T. Queen and Jay, but I remember that episode. But it's two things that I invested in. I invested in. Do I want to promote these people? I don't know, but anyway, it don't really matter. I invested in Fundrise. I don't suggest them yet. Let me deal with them for a year, and then I'll tell y'all if it's beneficial. But right now that I've been with them for a month, it's a much better yield than a savings account. So if you have a savings account that's just sitting somewhere, accruing little 19 cents, 9 cents, whatever that little bullshit that the savings account does, if you know it's gonna sit there, I would invest it in at your own risk. So don't blame me if your shit fail. But there was money that was just sitting in my account, not earning anything. So I wanted to find other ways to earn a higher yield. And so I invested in Fundrise, which is Fundrise, Fundrise. And what they do, they take your little bit of money, you help them, and they invest in real estate, and you get a percentage of the dividends that they make off the sales of the property or the rentals of the property. So it has been a higher yield this month than my savings account. Not a lot. One of my savings account has dropped in its APY every month by 1% since March. That sucks. So Fundrise. So let me sign in. Hold on. So I just opened this account in a month with $1,000, and I have made 62 cents. But if this was a savings account, I would have only made 9 cents. Like let me go look at my account on my like I got a Navy Federal mutual fund. That motherfucker don't bring me no money. No. Oh, being late. They're being tired. Let me see if they'll let me do on my phone. I'm trying to see exactly how much that they did. It's some little number. It's like some little stupid number that I'm getting every month. One of my favorite savings account has dropped. Oh, sorry. A trick I had got me into Robinhood. Yeah, I like Robinhood. It's cute so far. I don't know what's happening. Okay. Oh, they're making me make these fucking questions, so I can't tell what it is, but I know it's some bullshit. It's some bullshit. Make sure you read the new terms and conditions for Robinhood. They just changed because of this week's events. What's the new terms and conditions?
Mm. Yeah. I love how they doing it though. They shaking it up, honey. That is how capitalism. Long as they getting over and not the people, you can't gather together and try to get over on the big people. You gotta play your little part. You gotta play your part where we can exploit you. Only a couple of y'all can get rich, not all of y'all. Y'all trying to buy GameStop? But then my thing is how does it affect the GameStop owner? Now y'all using our stock to do this scam, and it's like, ooh, is it gonna mess up our stocks over time? But y'all was about to die anyway, so I don't know. Mm-mm-mm-mm-mm-mm. Yeah, it was already going bankrupt. Now they're doing Dog Coin. They're doing AMC. Was AMC going down? Were they going down? I don't know what they were giving. Probably because of COVID. I know they was going down because of COVID. Eventually, yeah, I don't know. I wish I knew more. I know this couple was next to me eating lunch yesterday, and they had said, and he's a broker, and he was like, it doesn't end, bubbles don't end well for people. Some people who know how to get out of it fast, but people who don't, who are not paying attention, that's just following, they can lose money. They're buying BlackBerry stock too, and I can't tell you less. I think they're doing all the nostalgia stuff. Like I wouldn't be surprised if they do Nokia, like Nokia, just all the nostalgia stuff from the early 2000s, 90s, from the 90s and early 2000s. I just like that they're playing them. I think that's cool. Yeah, you can rent out a theater these days at AMC for $120 for groups of 20 people max. Wow. I didn't know they had gone down that bad. Hmm. Well, don't lose all your coins in the stock market. I don't have any stocks in nothing in any of none of them because I'm a scaredy cat. I like to when people are trying stupid stuff, I'd be like, ooh, I don't know if I should do that. I'm scared, but I risk a little bit. But when I feel like it's a game that can get me caught up in losing my coins, I'm like, no, no, this is too far. What did it used to be? Did it used to be high? When it comes to my money, I'm a conservative. I'm not a conservative. I wouldn't say that, but I'm scary. I'm fiscally, yeah, I guess fiscal. No, um, fiscally cautious. I don't like to say conservative because conservative means conservative. You can be conservative, but you take risks that you know you're gonna win. Exploitive risk, like because they don't mind spending no money on a politician that they can, um, you get what I'm saying? They can ease over to their side when they know they're gonna win. Do you see what I'm saying? Like, because that's what I view conservative. I view conservative not take when I they're taking risks, but they're taking well, that's not really a risk. They're gonna spend money on what they know they're gonna win. Gotcha. Yeah, so that's like 3,000 all the way down to 120. Ooh. See, I don't take any risk with my money. Oh yeah, you gotta take some risk. Like I think that's just how it works. You gotta take some. Like say you got a business that you're trying to sell coats. You gotta buy the coats or buy the materials to make the coats to be able to sell them at a higher price so that you can make a profit. Like you gotta risk something. But if you just letting it sit, well, you don't have to. But if you're just letting it sit, you're not going. That's not how you make money. If you're trying to make money, that's not how you gotta take some kind of risk. You gotta spend something. You look weird. No, thank you. I hate the dudes on track that be looking weird. You're like, no, you look weird. No, thank you. They're hurting, especially because of these contracts that movie companies are doing with the streaming services. Yes, they are. Because, honey, Corona. Corona. Corona, baby. What y'all think about 50 Cent fucking, I mean, not 50 Cent, Method Man fucking Wendy? I mean, when I go look at Wendy back in the day, she wasn't ugly. She wasn't an unfuckable woman. Like when I see Wendy's picture from back in the day, she wasn't unfuckable. Even now, she's not unfuckable. She's old and skinny, but when it comes to like back in the day when they were talking about they had messed around, which you revealed that they had messed around, Wendy wasn't an unfuckable woman. She wasn't. She wasn't no dime piece, but she wasn't ugly. I could see a nigga fucking with her.
Yeah. When I look at Wendy, I don't see an unfuckable woman. I see she's not a dime piece, but she is somebody. I can see somebody fucking with her. I'm happy for her out of jealousy because Method Man is fine. Yes, that was crazy. Yeah, was he with? He had a wife at the time. Is that why the wife was coming up because he was married to her at the time that she was saying that they fucked? Was that the? Is that the tea? Because I didn't get the I didn't get into the tea because I don't really. Wendy is boring. Who Wendy is fucking is a boring subject, but Method Man is fine as hell, so I thought it was interesting. I love Method Man. He's not fine as hell, but he's sexy. Method Man is sexy. So, but I just don't, people making it seem like Wendy wasn't, like, Wendy, Wendy, I don't think Wendy was ugly enough to where it's like, ugh, you fucking Wendy? Like, now she's older, and then I could see somebody saying that, but in her younger years, she wasn't, she just wasn't somebody that I would be like, oh no, you're not getting no niggas. Niggas is fucking Wendy. Niggas, yeah, I can see that. I can see that she ain't ugly. Yeah, I didn't, and she knew about it, so it wasn't. She said I knew about certain things, but I could see that like you, I got a business to uphold. I got so much going on that it's cheaper to keep you. You see what I'm saying? But then your ass go and make babies and shit. That's when it gets whack, and I got to put you out. But keep getting your dick, Wendy. Nobody cares. Anyway, y'all. Wendy mentioned Method Man's wife cancer battle before they had told friends and family. So Meth and Wendy had moved over that. Now to find out they were creeping. That's true too. Oh, I didn't know that. But she didn't really. Did she say his name? Because when I heard her talking, it sounded like she was just saying. She said the leader of this group. Was it Method Man? Why did they think it was Method Man? Like, what did she say that made it him? Because I just heard her say, "Here I was fucking with the leader of the group." I know she mentioned Wu Tang, but was Method Man the leader of Wu Tang? Or was I thought it was RZA? Or was it Method Man? I didn't think of him as the leader of Wu Tang. That's strange. But it is 2 hours, y'all. So y'all know I ended 2 hours. But yeah, we will go into depth about Euphoria on this March's plate. Make sure y'all thumbs up. And I will chat with y'all next Friday.